I think it's fear. I think about my dad a lot. My dad, I think it's how people view their ability to go backwards. So I think that there's something very scary about my chemicals. And Sam, I've always felt this in you as well. It's funny that you brought it up. I don't know if I don't know you well enough to know this, and I'm not even sure you're going to believe me when I say it, but I do think you have a good shot of understanding what I'm about to say. My favorite Rocky is Rocky 6 when he goes back to Philly with nothing.
Yeah.
Sean, there's something so weird in me, and it's almost like, am I sandbagging myself? Like, I'm going to be very vulnerable here. Like, I don't view it as like I'm cool. I actually view it as I'm potentially flawed, right? Like there's something in me that romanticizes being okay with it all falling down. I'm back in like Queens in a $400 a month apartment. The entire internet is like, see, he was fucking overrated. I told, all the people that loved me, all the friends they have that don't love me are like, see, your fucking guy was a loser. He fucked it up. He sucks. I don't know why I like that, but I believe, Sam, to answer your question, it's something to do with that chemical. I believe the people that, I think you brought up some good stuff. I think a lot about if my dad had a supermarket instead of a liquor store, I would have taken that to way bigger heights because liquor was, you couldn't ship it. And,
sure.
There's
that's like the luck component.
Yeah, there's a ton of serendipity. Like, honestly, I think a lot about if my dad didn't want me to work in his store, I would have went to, because I fell in love with tech, I might have went to California, and who the fuck knows what I've created in 95, 6, 7, 8, like could have had one of those Mark Cuban moments. Like, I think about that. Or, I think when you can sell, for everyone who's listening, and if you have kids like this, if you can sell, you're in the game, right? Like if you can sell, you'll never be like zero, right? And so, what do you got here?
How do you want it?
Is 1234.com available?
No, dude, 1234 is owned by like a telecom.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's impossible. I like the 137. Okay. Yeah, do that.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, I love that. That was so dope.
I'm so pumped about this, bro.
The funny thing, by the way, Ben, my guy, he texted us a screenshot of GoDaddy. It's 1234.org, 15,000. He just said, pull the trigger, question mark.
No, don't pull that one. Actually, this is a good one. I never think you should overpay for names because I think names are made. McDonald's.
Dude, I agree.
Right, Sam? Like McDonald's.
Dude, but you know who disagrees? Fucking Dharmesh. Dharmesh.
I know.
Dude, I've been with him multiple times. So Dharmesh founded HubSpot, which bought my company, and I've gotten close with him. He's like, dude, I bought chat.com today. I'm like, why? He goes, because it was available. I was like, well, what are you going to do with it? He's like, I'm not sure, but I'm going to figure something out. But I paid 8 figures for it.
Yeah, look, he's smart. He knows like that, look, as long as .com, I mean, to me, the scary thing let me take a step back, not go too fast. He's smart enough to know he could probably flip that because it's a very, very, very big deal. And
he's got stupid amounts of money.
Correct, which is amazing. On the flip side, there is a little concern for me of what happens when this no longer becomes the remote control of our society, right? Like I'm very fascinated by 20 years from now. Talk about 16 years ago on Tumblr. 16 years from now, if you told me that 16 years from now we live in a predominant VR world, I would be like, maybe. Like I can see that possibility, right? You could see that it's pushing in a direction. I don't think it's going to end up being these Apple Pro, Google Glass, Snap, the Facebook thing, Quest. My intuition is that it's going to have to be much more lightweight, but I never underestimate the human being. I'm positive somebody's going to make the contact lenses that work like this, and then we're off to the races. Because now, back to the way I think about day trading attention, this no longer houses the attention. Now it's housed here. Whoever controls that paradigm wins big. And then all of a sudden, does .com even matter in that? Is that how the UI UX works? Because .com didn't matter at all in 1990. When I started the company 14 years ago, everyone's like, what the fuck? Why don't you do search? And I was like, First of all, I thought if I built a very big company, I'd be able to M&A search if I wanted to add it, right? It was already established. I grew up on search the 15 years before. And so here's a good one for the kids. If you're building towards the future, if you're capable, remember that you can always buy the current. And that's how I thought about search. I was going to master social in 2009, and I felt like social was going to eat up search anyway. And I think it's starting to happen now. Like search is in a weird spot. Like Google's in a weird spot. Like it's in a great spot in some ways, but yeah, I think search is definitely a different world. Like if your business, I actually spoke to somebody Thursday who is really getting hurt because he was one-dimensional on search, and I that's such a fear of mine that if you sell your stuff via email, via your podcast, via your social media content, via search, you must develop into a Swiss Army knife, because if you're just a fork, if you're just one-dimensional, you're gonna get caught.
Hey, right. Gary, let me ask you about that. You were saying a second ago, you're like, I'm not afraid to go back.
Yes.
So like the way that I run my personal finances is I've got like my safety net. So I've got this like account that has enough money that I'm good forever.
Same.
And so that's in Vanguard and bonds. And
Same.
So it's like, I've never touched that. And
Same.
then anything above that amount, I'll bet it.
Same.
And I'll like start new shit.
Same.
And so you're talking about like, you don't mind going back, but it sounds like that's not exactly how you run your finances. So do you have like a safety net, and then anything above that, you're like,
yes,
bet it. Or do you just use profits from Vayner to make these bets? How does that work?
Yes. I'm comfortably transparent. I'm very fortunate. So my zero is $1 million, but that's it. That's it, Sam.
Wait, so you only keep $1 million in your like liquid portfolio? That's your safety net?
No. I have other things, like I have money in all sorts of places, but I have this one place that has $1 million, and literally everything else is in play.
Wow.
Now, Sean, I want to paint a very clear picture here because I don't want to create hyperbole. I haven't bet everything on everything, but if I ever feel the way I felt about Facebook in 2007, when I had $236,000 in savings, I put $200,000 into Facebook. Right? If that ever happens again, like I'm willing to bet very large, because that feeling, similar to the feeling I felt about the internet when I saw it in 95, similar to the feeling that I felt about Friendster, MySpace, that little like, oh, the internet's changing. I look for those moments. And, again, I'm willing to go big. But to your point, Sam, like, it's not like I'll go to 0-0. $1 million is a lot of money. And especially if you're capable. If you're capable, like, I don't know, like I feel very confident.
And a reputation.
Yeah, correct. I also think about Face Off, like where you change, like I have like these very like deep, Sean, it goes back to like wanting to win the basketball game. Like, I think the worst thing for my love of entrepreneurship that's happened is what Sam just said. I no longer can do it without anyone knowing. It's a whole different game. It was so fun when people didn't know.
What you're saying reminds me of, two things. I think it's super interesting that your answer to what's the difference you've seen in the mindset and the psychology was who's willing to go backwards. And almost what you said was you almost kind of crave, there's like a romantic idea about going back, which I like a lot. I resonate with that a lot. It's almost like there's TV shows I wish I could go watch again for the first time. In the same way, like there's no greater feeling than going from not making it to making it. Once you've made it and you try to make more, it doesn't have the same thrill, adventure, satisfaction, self-respect.
You have to almost go into different games. Like I worry about that. Like I don't worry about it, but I sense that there's a day where I talk a lot about never retiring and dying at my desk. And then there's an equal part of me that realizes that I'm very wired in a way where I just might wake up at 79 and be like, you know what? Like, I'm done. I'm just going to focus on my grandchild's I don't know. I think we're all very, I think we underestimate how long life is. I think we underestimate our capacity to make hard decisions to different directions that we can't see along the way. Then there's back to luck and, look, we lived through a lot of prosperity. The three of us have gotten very fortunate of where we lived during what era. right? Like there's a lot going on in the world. Like, there was people in the roaring 20s talking shit like this over dinner. And then, a very challenging 30 years punched them in the face, right? My professional life is not simplistic, but it is for me, meaning, like I like playing. Like this goes back to the relationship with losing. It's not simplistic, but it is. Let me explain what I mean by that. Let me think of a good example. Something not working out for me in business, whether it's in the micro of like day-to-day VaynerX land, or if it's in the micro, like an investment or something I put a lot of time and effort into that didn't materialize, I view that like losing the first game of a pickup game. Sam, I'll tell you why it's simplistic. I'm not attached to my professional success or who I am. I'm like in a very weird place with my winning and losing and my Garyvee of it all. Like I care so much, but it's a game. My professional life is a game.
Right.
I don't want to be unhappy. Like I fight for happiness too much. And I think it is in the simplicity. You're right. The day-to-day is chaotic. There's meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, right? But I like it. This is why I'm bringing up the pickup game. I like it. I like juggling 17 balls, and I'm not upset about the 13 that fell on the ground and broke. And more importantly, I'm not worried about the people who are watching me juggle boo when the ball breaks. That I think is massive.